The streets of New York in the mid-20th century had their own rhythm, a pulse that beat louder at night than it did in the day. Under the neon lights of Little Italy, behind the clamor of restaurants and the laughter spilling out of neighborhood bars, there were rooms where power was decided not by votes but by whispers. Gaetano, Tommy Three Finger, Lucchese knew these rooms well. For years he had carved out his corner of the city, moving with quiet precision, never the loudest voice but often the sharpest mind in the room. His name carried weight, not because he flaunted his power, but because men understood that when Lucchese spoke, things happened. On a late evening, in the back of a private club tucked between 2nd Avenue and a street that never made it onto tourist maps, Lucchese sat with a glass of Chianti in front of him. His left hand, marked by its missing fingers, rested on the polished wood table. His eyes, dark and calculating, scanned the room as if measuring every soul inside it. The door opened with a quiet push, and Aniello, Mr. Neil Dellacroce entered. He moved like a shadow, deliberate and controlled, his broad frame carrying the aura of someone who had walked through storms and come out colder on the other side. Men in the room straightened when they saw him. Dellacroce didn't need to raise his voice, didn't need to flash a smile. His presence was enough to command obedience. Lucchese gestured to the chair across from him. "Neil," he said softly, as though they were two old friends meeting for coffee instead of two underworld giants measuring the shape of tomorrow. Dellacroce lowered himself into the seat, nodding slightly. He lit a cigarette, letting the smoke curl up toward the dim light above them. "Tommy," he replied, his tone flat but respectful. For a long moment they didn't speak. Men around them pretended to be occupied, pouring drinks, fiddling with ashtrays, but their ears were trained on every syllable about to be exchanged. Finally, Lucchese broke the silence. "The city's shifting," he said. "What was true 10 years ago doesn't hold anymore. The cops, the papers, the feds, they're all pushing harder. They smell blood. They think they can clean the streets." He swirled the wine in his glass slowly. "But the streets don't get cleaned, Neil. They just change hands." Dellacroce leaned back, his face still as stone. "Hands change, sure, but only when they're steady. You and me, we've kept steady hands. Others, not so much. You see it. Ambition blinds them. And ambition without discipline." He tapped ash into the tray. "That's suicide." Lucchese gave a small smile, the kind that never touched his eyes. "Discipline's a rare thing. Men want quick money, fast respect. They don't understand patience. They don't understand the machine." Dellacroce raised an eyebrow. "The machine? This city," Lucchese explained, leaning forward. "It's like a machine. You don't force it. You oil it, keep the gears turning, make sure everyone knows their place. Push too hard, it breaks. Neglect it, it rusts. But if you treat it right, it runs forever." Dellacroce's gaze lingered on him, and for a moment there was only the sound of a clock ticking somewhere in the distance. Then Dellacroce nodded slightly. "You've always had a way of putting things, Tommy. And you're right. But machines attract engineers, men who think they can redesign what already works. And that's when we bury them." The men nearby shifted uncomfortably. The conversation was calm, but the undertones were sharp enough to cut steel. Lucchese sipped his wine and placed the glass down carefully. "Tell me, Neil, what do you see for the next 5 years? Where does this thing of ours stand?" Dellacroce inhaled from his cigarette, exhaling slowly. Before answering, "We stand where we always stand, between the shadows and the light. Politicians will pretend they don't know us while they take envelopes from our boys. Cops will arrest small-timers to make headlines, while the real weight keeps moving in silence. The streets feed us, Tommy. The unions, the docks, the trucks, the clubs, they all keep paying. As long as we control the channels, nothing changes." "But it's changing," Lucchese insisted, his tone tightening. "Don't fool yourself. The younger ones, they're restless. They see the money pouring in from drugs, and they want in. They don't care about rules, about keeping order. They just want fast scores. That's the crack in the dam." Dellacroce's eyes narrowed. "Drugs are poison. They bring heat. They make noise. Carlo," he didn't need to finish the name. Both men knew he meant Carlo Gambino. "He doesn't want it. I don't want it. You don't either. But try telling that to the young bloods. They think they're smarter than the men who built this thing. They'll learn, or they'll disappear." Lucchese nodded, a flicker of agreement in his gaze. "Men disappear all the time. It's part of the business. But too many disappearances, too much noise, it brings the kind of attention none of us want. Balance, Neil. Balance is what keeps us alive. The door opened again, and an associate leaned in cautiously. Tommy, the car's ready whenever you want it. Lucchese waved him off. Not yet. Dellacroce stubbed out his cigarette, the room briefly filled with the sharp smell of burnt tobacco. You called me here for a reason, Tommy. You don't waste words. So what is it? Lucchese's expression hardened. There's talk. Some of the boys on the other side of the river, they're restless. They're whispering names, yours, mine, Carlos. They think maybe it's time for new blood. I don't like whispers, Neil. They turn into echoes, and echoes turn into shouts. Dellacroce's face didn't change, but his eyes darkened. Names whispered or names forgotten, once we deal with the mouths doing the whispering. Lucchese tilted his head, studying him. So you agree, it's time we remind them how this thing works. Dellacroce's answer was cold, final. Order doesn't ask. Order tells.